You sent the message, they read it, they didn't reply. You sent another one 2 days later, still nothing. That person you were talking to every day, just gone. No argument, no falling out, no explanation, just silence. And you're left sitting there wondering what happened, what changed, what you did wrong. Because at least if they'd said something, I'm not interested anymore, I need space, this isn't working, you could deal with it. You could process it and move on. But they didn't say anything, they just stopped. And somehow that's worse than any explanation could have been. That experience has a name, and the psychology behind why people do it is more revealing than most people realize. Here's the first thing you need to understand. Ghosting isn't about you. It's about the person doing it and their relationship with discomfort. Delivering difficult news, I'm not feeling this anymore, I don't think we should talk, I need space, requires tolerating someone else's pain. And for a lot of people that feels unbearable. Psychologists call this empathy avoidance, the instinct to remove yourself from a situation rather than witness the emotional fallout of a difficult conversation. It's not that the ghoster doesn't care. In many cases, it's the opposite. They care so much about not hurting you that they convince themselves disappearing is kinder, that no answer is better than a painful one, that if they just go quiet and the message will land softly. What they don't realize, or choose not to, is that silence is never soft. It's one of the most disorienting forms of rejection there is, because it gives your brain nothing to work with. And a brain with nothing to work with will work overtime. But there's a second reason people ghost, and this one's less sympathetic. Conflict avoidance. Some people ghost not because they're protecting your feelings, but because they're protecting their own comfort. Having a direct conversation means potentially dealing with questions, emotions, pushback. It means sitting in an awkward moment. And for people who've never developed the tolerance for difficult conversations, disappearing feels like the path of least resistance. It's easier to go quiet than to say something real. Psychologist Janice Vilhauer, who has studied ghosting extensively, found that people who ghost regularly tend to have an avoidant attachment style, a way of relating to others characterized by emotional distance and discomfort with vulnerability. For these people, intimacy feels threatening, and the moment a connection starts to require real honesty, real emotional exposure, the instinct is to exit, not because they're bad people, but because closeness feels unsafe and disappearing feels like control. Now here's the part nobody talks about. Ghosting doesn't just hurt the person being ghosted. Research from Vilhauer's studies found that ghosters often experience their own psychological fallout. Unresolved guilt, a pattern of avoidance that gets harder to break over time. Relationships that never quite reach depth because honest endings are always replaced with silence. Ghosting feels like an exit, but it's actually a trap. Because every time someone avoids a difficult conversation by disappearing, they reinforce the belief that they can't handle discomfort. And the next time a hard moment arrives, in any relationship, in any area of life, the instinct to vanish gets a little stronger. So what do you do if you've been ghosted? First, stop looking for the explanation in yourself. Ghosting is almost never about what you did or who you are. It's about the other person's inability to tolerate the discomfort of honesty. The silence says nothing about your worth. It says everything about their avoidance. Second, resist the urge to reach out repeatedly. Your brain will tell you that one more message might get an answer. It won't. What it will do is keep the open loop alive and delay your own recovery. Third, give yourself permission to grieve it properly. Ghosting is a loss, and unlike a clear ending, it comes without closure. That makes it genuinely harder to process. The ambiguity is the wound. Acknowledging that, instead of minimizing it, is the first step toward actually moving past it. And if you've ever ghosted someone, this isn't about guilt. It's about awareness, because the short-term comfort of disappearing always comes at the cost of a relationship that deserved a real ending. And the people who learn to have honest, uncomfortable conversations, even when it's hard, build something the avoiders never quite manage to. Trust. Real trust. The kind that only comes from knowing that someone will tell you the truth, even when it costs them something. Don't forget to subscribe to The Social Psyche. Every week we break down the hidden psychology behind why you think, feel, and behave the way you do.